Magna Story Sounds presents an unabridged recording of The Land is Bright, written by Elizabeth Murphy, read by Julie Maisey. The moral right of the author has been asserted. This performance is owned by Magna. And not by eastern windows only, when daylight comes in the light. In front the sun climbs slow, how slowly, but westward look. The land is bright. Arthur Hugh Clough. Chapter 1. Darkness came early to the narrow streets of Liverpool in 1886, but although the March afternoon was made even more dreary by fog, the tiny living room of No. 9 Gull Street was bright with the flames of a huge coal fire. A wooden cradle stood on the rag rug before the fire, and 12-year-old Sally Palin was rocking it and peering anxiously at her sleeping baby sister. 2 young boys with mourning bands on their shabby jackets were sitting by the table. The elder boy came over to the cradle and looked at the baby. "Do you think we should get Mrs. Malloy, Sal?" he asked, but Sally shook her head. "No, Da left me in charge of our Emily," she said. "He'll be home soon anyhow." In an effort to look grown up, she had scraped back her red-brown hair and wrapped one of her dead mother's white aprons around her thin body, high under her armpits, but her childish voice trembled, and her blue eyes were wide with fear. "But she looks awful poorly," John was persisting, when suddenly their father lifted the latch of the door. It opened directly into the living room, and his face paled as he saw the frightened children. Swiftly, he crossed to the cradle and turned back the blanket from the sleeping baby. "She's sweating, Da," Sally said nervously, but her father smiled. "No wonder," he said. "She's roasting hot." He drew the cradle further away from the fire. "Oh, Da, I thought she had the fever," Sally said. "Her cheeks were so red. I built up the fire to cook the scouse, but it's ready now anyway." "Aye, well, you didn't need to cook the baby too," Matthew Palin said dryly. Sally glanced at him, wondering whether or not she should smile. Since her mother's death 2 weeks earlier, he had been like an unpredictable stranger instead of the loving father she had always known. Feeling light-hearted with relief about Emily, she drew the black pan onto the hob beside the fire and said impulsively, "Our John wanted to call Mrs. Maldar, but she's already been in and out of the house all day like a fiddler's elbow. I was sick."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?